Hello friends, as you can see I've got a lot going on behind me. I've got this mess that I've been working on for a while. That's the main body of the dresser, and then over there I've got this crazy table that I picked up. It's in really bad shape. So both of those will be coming in videos very soon, but today I wanted to take a moment and talk about some tools that are really important in my workroom that furniture flippers just starting out might not think about. I was recently going through my old videos, looking at the old descriptions and links to things in the videos, and I thought, oh, it's been a while since I've done a tool video, so that's what we're doing today. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. These are just products that I use. I will add some links down below. I think the majority of these will probably come from Amazon. Amazon links I do earn a commission through if somebody buys something, but you don't have to go to Amazon if you don't want to. Most of these things you can find at hardware stores. So let's get into it. I'm going to introduce each tool, tell you what I use it for and why I think it's important. These may look like items you would see in any workshop, but that's not necessarily the case. I'm going to start here because this little guy has saved me so much time and trouble over the years. This is a ratcheting screwdriver. You can go forwards, this way, switch it over, and then you can go back this way. This makes getting into tight dressers extremely easy, and you can pop these out and put in whatever you need. I'm in Canada, so we use Robertson a lot, which is what this is here. Almost every piece I work on is Robertson, and you can get bits here that are, you know, maybe this long. So you can get into some really tight spaces and then you just ratchet it. Works really good. These are not expensive. Highly recommend grabbing one of these. You won't believe some of the tight spaces you have to get into. Now this is not a hammer. This is a dead blow mallet, and it has a whole bunch of stuff inside of it. When you go to hit something with a regular hammer, there's always a fair bit of bounce back. Like you hit something and this is going to absorb that. This is really important too, and you can see I've used this a lot. I've got glue all over it from trying to level up cutting boards as I'm making them, and a lot of gouges. I will eventually have to replace this, but I'm going to use the heck out of it first. Anytime you need to separate joints, take things apart, you want to use something like this or a regular rubber mallet rather than a regular hammer because it's not going to damage the wood. So this one I think is only about, 1 pound. You can get them a lot heavier. I recommend the 1 pound. That's perfect for what you're going to be using for in furniture. Next thing here, this seems like it would be obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people just don't think about it when they get into furniture flipping. Now, one thing to check, and I just realized, mine are expired. Now, while this isn't necessarily the same thing as food, I wouldn't let it go, more than a few months past expiry, so I'm gonna have to replace these. When it comes to lead, you just want to be sure. Now, there's different types of lead test swabs. These ones you just dip in water, you shake off any of the excess, and then you just rub the sort of Q-tip looking thing on the paint or finish that you want to test. A lot of people don't realize that you can get lead in old finishes too, not just paint. So it's important to know. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to write a piece off. You can certainly work on pieces with lead in the finish or in the paint, but there are certain precautions you need to take, so you need to know if you're dealing with lead first. These are non-negotiable. You have to have these, and they should not be expired. Now, for anybody that does a lot of spraying, and I don't mean spray paint, I mean stuff like this, lacquer. When you're doing a lot of spraying, your finger's gonna get really sore, and there's gonna be times you're gonna let off the trigger a little bit, and you're gonna, it's gonna change your flow, your spray. So you wanna be as consistent as possible without, hurting yourself. So these little guys are really important. Now, this particular one, I'm not a huge fan of. I had 2 Krylon ones that broke both on the same day, believe it or not, after having them for years. So I bought 2 of these Rust-Oleum ones, and I'm not a big fan of it, but basically these just clip on like that, and then you can pick it up, and this will press down on the trigger for you. So basically you just hold it like this, and it makes life so much easier. The reason I don't love these ones is I found that it just wasn't staying on quite enough. The Krylon ones didn't have this mechanism that opens. It's basically just, well, if you take those away and make this solid, you would just slide it on and it would clip on. So I don't love these, but I had a very sweet viewer actually send me a different type. It's got the same idea, but I haven't tried this version of it yet, so I'm gonna give these a go and see if I like these better. This one has a nice, comfortable trigger here, so that's quite handy. And these will fit on almost any can. If I can open that, it's very hard to do this one-handed. Oh yeah, see, that fits under a lot nicer than the Rust-Oleum ones. This is not only a time saver, it's gonna make your finish a lot more consistent. Now, next I have this little tool here, and this is a nail holder. So this is going to be important if you've got big hands like I do. I don't have very dainty, girly hands at all. So holding, you know, little inch long or 3/4 of an inch long nails, for example, on the underside of a drawer, you flip it upside down, you know how the bottom is usually nailed in. I have the hardest time holding onto the nail because my hands are so big. So this comes in handy, and it's got multiple openings here for different size nails. They're super cheap, and while it's not something I use a lot, when I do need it, I'm very glad that I have it. So I would recommend this as well. So this, whoops. So this little guy here is an absolutely lovely thing to have when you need it. We've got metric here in millimeters, and we also have inches. So depending on where you are here in Canada, even though we're on the metric system, a lot of us use inches for certain measurements. This is another tool that you're not going to use every single day, but when you do need it, it's going to be invaluable. I like using these for measuring the depth of things, like the depth of certain holes I need to fill, the width of veneer I need to replace. Veneer comes in multiple widths, and it's really handy to have something like this to narrow it down. It's also quite handy for figuring out the center to center point of a pull. So if we go here, we are just about at 3 inches. Sometimes you get a more exact measurement with this than with just a measuring tape. And you'll notice it's got these two sides here. This particular side is great when you're measuring inside of things. So I can do this and I can see that that is right on the cusp there of 0.3. If I switch that over to millimeters and do that again, 7.5 millimeters is the size of that hole. Like, it's so valuable for very specific things, but they're not that expensive. I think it's a great thing to have. It's also really good for measuring like the thickness of dowels and things like that. I should mention that there are hundreds of other tools that are just as important or even more important than some of these things, with the exception of the lead test kit. I think that's the most important thing here. These are not must-haves, these are nice-to-haves. These are things that make your work faster, easier, more efficient, more comfortable for you. That's an important one for me. You know, I'm closing in on 50, it's coming. You know, I don't want to have to hold on to things that are tiny anymore. So tools like this improve your life. They don't necessarily change your life, if that makes sense. If you work on very old furniture, this is something that is very nice to have. Now, this is liquid gun bluing, and it doesn't work on every type of metal, but I find it very handy for aging, and it does it through a type of, it's almost like a type of rust. It will turn certain metals black. So when you're working on, let's say, a really old table and you've got old square head nails underneath that are black, and for some reason you need to replace something and you can't find one the same color, this will age it for you. I've used this many times on old hinges and latches, nails, screws, just to make things look older. This is a great little thing to have on hand. Now, this one is kind of funny because this is actually not the brand I normally use, but it is what I have right now. This is something that's nice to have when you're reusing old hardware, or old screws, hinges, stuff like that, things that get really rusty. You can make a rust bath by putting stuff like this inside of a container, and I really like the Enviro safe ones. So this is the same thing here. The brand I prefer is called Evaporust, which is also very safe. It's easy, it's non-corrosive, it doesn't stink. There's so many different ways to get rid of rust. You can make vinegar baths, you know, there's multiple ways to do it, but I like this because it's safe and I don't have to worry when it's time to dump it. A lot of this stuff is reusable. It will turn dark over time as, you know, you use it over and over again, but it started out like this. This is a great thing to have. You just throw your screws in there while you're working on other things, and then by the time you're ready for them, they're done. Now, clamps. You can never get enough clamps, but there's so many different types of clamps. So what does a furniture flipper need? A must-have is spring clamps, which would be like these guys right here and on the end over there. These are just smaller bar clamps. I use those a lot on reattaching veneer that's coming loose. Over here, I've got all kinds of bar clamps. These are longer. These are good for the drawer boxes. Or if you're needing to clamp a top on, you would put one end here, one end here. And then I've got a whole bunch of these parallel clamps. Now I use these mostly when I am making things like cutting boards, but they do come in handy for cabinets sometimes. These are more spring clamps. You can never have too many clamps. It's kind of a running joke in the business, but it's true. Now the reason this particular clamp made this list is because it's really handy when you're gluing panels together. So if you've got, let's say, an old tabletop that's made of multiple boards and the boards are all kind of wonky, you've separated the boards, you've re-glued them, and you want to clamp them together along the width of the piece, that's fine. But what's handy about these is these will keep your boards parallel to each other. I always recommend having something like this. 4 would be great, 8 is better. I'm just gonna say that. And last but not least, I've got this Kreg Hardware Jig here. Now, what makes this really useful is when you have situations like I have over here, where the hardware that used to be on these is not going to work. So in this situation, the hardware was gone, but these were double holes and they weren't centered. So any hardware I want to put on this, I'm going to need to center. And that can be a little bit difficult to do sometimes, especially for beginners. You can do the X in the middle, you know, with the 2 rulers. You can get pretty close with a little practice, but something like this is going to make life so much easier. You can see there are common sizes here in both metric and imperial. So let's say we've got that 3-inch pull. I would slide this over to the 3-inch here. I would do that over on this side as well. And then I would adjust these screws so that it will go down where I need it to go. And if we look at the underside here, there are measurements too. So if we want to go 3 inches down, you're going to line that up with 3 inches. Come over here, find your middle, look through this little middle hole here, and then you can drill into your board. This is a really handy thing to have. Now I know videos like this are not as exciting as furniture flipping videos, but I'm in the middle of these 2 things and I just don't have the time to get one out this weekend. And I've been wanting to talk about this for a little while. So hopefully, you know, if you're into furniture flipping, you see something here that you don't have and think maybe, you know, this will make my life a little easier. Trust me, they will. They're gonna make things go so much faster, safer, and just easier all around. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll be back really soon with a furniture flipping video.